Hello, folks. This is Joe from My Geek Scene. I'm actually here with my friend Tim. You can also find him on YouTube as Echoside Fiend. Like, subscribe, follow.
Sure.
We're here to do a special collaboration review of Astronomicon, and Tim was my assistant for that weekend. He was definitely my assistant for that weekend, and we had a good time. But I definitely wanted to go over with him about the things that we liked and disliked about Astronomicon. And Tim is far more entrenched in the twisted and juggalo music scene than I am, so he's a bit of more of an expert on the subject.
Connoisseur.
Oh my goodness. You enjoy fine music.
I enjoy only the finest of juggalo music.
and the finest of cultures. But all right. So definitely I printed out a list of notes and whatnot to talk about Astronomicon. So, for those who've never been to Astronomicon, it was a pop culture pop culture convention held down in Sterling Heights, Michigan, at the Wyndham Gardens. And one of the things we talked about on the ride back was that it truly felt like a pop culture event compared to other events that I've been to. Because a lot of times I find that Comic-Con type events just slap the title pop culture onto it. And it's just basically just a title. Considering that the majority of their guests are comic artists and comic writers, and they just throw pop culture on there instead of it truly being a wide variety of different guests and whatnot. Any of your thoughts on that, Len?
Yeah, for sure. You're definitely right. They bring in wrestlers, horror movie icons.
Yeah, for
obviously
Astronomicon.
comics. Yep. Obviously, comic artists, comic dealers, and then there was obviously booths filled with video games, toys, wrestling action figures, movie action figures, artists that are not comic related, everything. And they had a little bit of everything. I think if you're into the geek, nerd culture, whatever at all, there was something there that you would enjoy. Boy. Even if you were not into the juggalo scene whatsoever.
I would agree with that one. And the cool thing, geez, you must have been reading my notes. Thanks a lot, Tim.
What else you got?
But definitely I would like to go into the layout of it, because we're going to start off with the pros, and then we're going to go into the cons. But you already mentioned in the dealer's room, all the stuff that you can buy. Mm-hmm. There was definitely combined with artists and vendors. It was well over 50 in the dealer's room alone. And last year when I wrote about Astronomicon, one of my complaints about the layout was it was a nice layout, but there was one hidden aisle.
Yeah, the artist aisle.
It was an artist aisle directly behind where the celebrities had were doing their autographs and stuff. And there was it was darkened, and I think the black curtain that was separating the celebrities from everything else was just, I guess, drawing out the light, so people were essentially hidden. That problem was remedied this year because there was people behind the celebrities, but there was booths on both sides of that aisle. And it was well lit, so I thought that was pretty cool. As you mentioned, there was a lot of variety of things to buy. I saw this one group that was selling teddy bears that looked like they had their faces
ripped off. Yeah.
And
shout out to my friend Raven who bought one for her daughter.
Really?
Yeah. That was it looked like it was in a package, but it looked like it was pulling its face off. And Raven's like, "You're not taking that to school with you," because her daughter's 5 or 6 maybe. So.
Definitely.
They were really cool though.
There were vendors selling rare horror movies too on DVD and whatnot.
Yeah, there was a whole ton of those.
I totally dug the layout overall of Astronomicon, but I definitely wanted to touch upon that a little bit later, too. Yep. One of the other things about Astronomicon was gaming. I went up to the gaming room, and oddly enough, they had a nice mix of retro video games and current stuff. Mm-hmm. For the current stuff, they had Super Smash Bros. Ultimate that just came out, and Dragon Ball FighterZ. And I want to say they had Mortal Kombat as well. But, for the retro games that caught my eye, because I haven't really seen these games at other conventions, was WWF Attitude for the Nintendo 64.
I used to rock that game. I had it for the PlayStation, but I was good at it.
I had it for
Warzone was the one that I liked.
I had Attitude for the PlayStation.
Attitude was the sequel to Warzone. I actually preferred Warzone. It was I remember it being kind of like a facelift of the other, but the Warzone, I guess it was just kind of the first updated game of WWF that I bought, so maybe that was a little more endearing to me. But
that's fair. I remember I almost ran this dude off the road trying to hop out to what was then Funko Land at the time to get WWF Attitude. Like, went out to the highway and just drifted all the way over because I was such a mark back then.
Yeah.
They also had Twisted Metal 3 because I wasn't expecting that, and Angry Video Game Nerd 2, the video game. And while I was in there, I was seeing Gmo Ski.
Yeah, he's the big video game guy in the Magic Ninja roster.
He was destroying some kid on Smash Bros.
I believe he did a competition.
Yes, I think he was taking on all comers.
Yeah, and I think he won.
Did he?
Or was it fixed?
That would be so messed up that he hasn't fixed the entire time. Also, speaking of gaming, the one cool thing that I definitely saw that wasn't in the gaming room, but it was downstairs in the lobby, was they had a single arcade unit with hundreds of games on it. And I mean, I know it was like an emulator setup, but it looked like an arcade cabinet with like the joysticks and the 6 buttons.
Combat, didn't it?
Well, geez, I was trying to get to that.
Okay, sorry.
But wait, there's more. No, like on the side of it, there was descriptions, and if you look at it, it had like Mortal Kombat names of the characters. But if you looked at the photos, it was of the Magic Ninja Entertainment roster.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
saw Gorilla Voltage, Gmo Ski, Blaze Your Dead Homie,
Yeah.
the ROC, and Twisted, of course. And there was other ones too, but it was like lined up around on the side. So like if you weren't paying attention, you would have missed that. But it was pretty cool. I mean, like when I actually took the time to play the original Battletoads arcade game. I've always played the one for like the Nintendo, but I never ever got to play.
I don't think I even knew there was an arcade version of that.
Oh yeah, it definitely looks a lot better, but it's pretty and it's far more violent.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. But it's pretty cool game to check out. So I would like to play that again sometime down the road. But the fact that they had like this console, this arcade unit just set up in the lobby and people were playing that throughout the weekend, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. I kind of scanned through it. I didn't play it much, but
I can't take you anywhere.
I know. Well, I was wandering around the whole time. So.
I mean, Astronomicon had rooms for panels, rooms for photo ops, and overall, like for the layout portion of this, it was a nice layout, and I thought it was well done for the most part. Now, on to the guests. They actually had over 30 guests, including like Butch Patrick, Eddie Munster from the Munsters, Dee Snider. Sid Haig actually made it out this year.
Yeah, because he was supposed to be there last year, and wasn't that him? And he had to cancel?
He had to cancel, I think, due to scheduling conflicts or something like that. And they also had John Kassir out this year, who was the voice of the Crypt Keeper from Tales from the Crypt on HBO.
Yep, and Buster Bunny from Tiny Toon Adventures, which I did not know until I read his little thing on the table there. But of course, I'm far more into Tales from the Crypt. Tiny Toon Adventures, what is that? I don't even know what that is.
Did you get any autographs this year?
Yeah, I just did Jake the Snake. I brought enough to do. I actually did want to meet John Kassir, and it was just kind of, after I spent the money to meet Jake the Snake, I just didn't feel like spending any more money. But I did meet Jake the Snake, and I bought a piece of artwork from Eric Hodson of Jake the Snake, and then brought that over and had Jake the Snake sign that, and got a picture with him. And so
awesome. Lovely picture that I'll feature in this video. Yes. Probably about here. So, I had bought I don't really place much value in buying like photos or autographs from guests because I'd rather just have a cool experience with them. But for my mom, I did buy an autographed Munsters t-shirt signed by Butch Patrick himself. So, and he was super nice. And actually, all the guests that I encountered, like actively talked to, they were super nice. But there were like two people that stood out to me that were extremely nice, and they were Dustin Rhodes and the Boogeyman, who are both pro wrestlers. And at no point did they make us feel like come on, kid, buy something.
Yeah.
Because I've encountered that before when I've gone up to, especially wrestlers, like in the past when I went up to go up to them and just say, "Hey, I appreciate what you do," and they're like, "Oh yeah, thanks," or like,
"Here's a T-shirt, buy it."
Here's a T-shirt, buy it. Be on your way. It's like, no, dude, I just want to say thank you, and I'm sure they hear that plenty of times.
Yeah, for sure.
But like if you're there, I know they're there to make money
Of course.
at the end of the day. But if you're just like shooing along somebody because
Yeah, then they're not gonna tell their friends that they had a good experience,
and
and then people aren't gonna. Oh, it's just gonna shoo me off. I'm not gonna go over and see them. You know.
I mean, like at the end of the day, they don't owe me money.
Right.
I mean, they don't owe me anything. Should
Yeah,
I say?
for sure.
And it's not like I'm having like a 5-hour conversation with them. It's just a quick. I always go up for like a quick minute. Hey, thanks, appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I'm out. You know. Also, for as far as the guest goes, I have to give a shout out to Ming Chen again because Ming remembered me from last year when I interviewed him, and he was like super cool, and he wanted to do another interview this year, but I hadn't prepped anything in advance because, well, I don't like doing generic interviews with people without doing much research on
Sure.
them.
And
I didn't want to rehash all things,
get
but
the
Ming
same
Chen,
questions that they hear all the time. And, yeah.
Ming Chen, super cool dude. Truly appreciate him. All right, so since we're on the still on the topic of guests and whatnot, I definitely wanted to talk about like the Magic Ninja Entertainment crew. One of the things you commented on the ride home is that you liked the meet and greet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's really cool that they do those for free, just right at the table. All the Magic Ninja artists, as far as I know. Well, I didn't see Gorilla Voltage this year. They might be like on tour or something. But as far as everyone else, they had the table set up by their merch. And they would just come up and randomly throughout the day. And I mean, I saw Blaze around. I didn't do the meet and greet with him, but I went up and saw Twisted, and Gmo Ski was up there a little bit later. The ROC. So yeah, those are all free. They'll do autograph, picture, you can chit chat with them for a few minutes. They, for the most part, weren't rushing people along. When I did meet Twisted, by the time I got up there, they were asking you to choose between either a picture or an autograph, just because they needed to keep the line moving because Twisted had a panel or something they had to do. But even then, they were still being very accommodating. So.
But didn't they come back later?
I'm not sure if they did. They might have. I made it up there, and all I wanted to get was some stuff signed. But later they did do that full where you could meet, or do get a picture with the whole crew. So that Twisted probably went back up there again at some point, but I'm not 100% sure. But I made it through to meet them, and all I wanted to get was some stuff signed. I wasn't worried about a picture.
Yeah, I mean, like when I met Twisted, I did an interview with them, and that's already been up on YouTube. And those two were like, actually, I mean, not actually, I shouldn't say like, oh, yeah. Actually. No, they were a pleasure to meet.
They're very nice.
And they were like super down to earth. Mm-hmm. At no point were they like, come on, we got to get this going. We got to get this going. They didn't even try rushing me to do the interview. They actually made me feel like, hey, we're here for you at this time right now. We're giving you our full attention.
Yep.
You know, because I've interviewed some people in the past. They're just like, if I could go back in time, I would have not wasted my time with them.
Yeah.
But like Jamie and Paul, super cool dudes. I totally appreciate them. But you have you were telling me about this story, a cool story about Blaze Your Dead Homie's interaction with a young fan.
Yeah.
Would you care to elaborate, sir?
Sure. I was just, I had gone somewhere walking around, and I came back in, and it was after Blaze had done his autograph meet and greet. And I came walking in like where the merch is. There's I say like the main entrance, I guess. And there was a woman, like it was a mother. She was there with two kids. They were both young. I'm guessing one looked like he was about 5 or 6. The other looked like maybe about 10. And the one who was younger was crying, and the one who was older you could clearly see he was upset. And I had overheard her just talking to them, and she's like, "I know, but and I'm just kind of paraphrasing, but she was like, They had to get going, so I know, I'm sorry we didn't get to meet him, but maybe we'll see him later." And Blaze was just still at the table, 20 feet away, maybe gathering up some things. And he turned around after he gathered up his things, and he saw the kids. He came walking up, and he looked at the younger one, and he was like, "Oh, what's wrong, homie?" or whatever. And then she said to him, she's like, "Oh, they were waiting to meet you, and they cut the line off." And he's like, "Oh no, hell no, come on!" And he grabbed the kids, brought them over to where those banners are, did pictures with him, like he had some promos or something. I didn't see exactly what it was, but he signed those for him, signed one of the kids' shirts, high-fived them both, and stuff. And then, he spent a minute or two, doing that. And then he was like, "Is that good, guys?" And they're like, "Yeah." And he's like, "All right," and getting like high-fived them and stuff. And then he had to be on his way. He had something he had going on, but he took that, couple minutes because he saw that they were upset. And, and he was like, "Nope, you guys come over here. We'll take care of that," So I thought that was really cool. I already respected Blaze for all the years that I've been a fan of his music, but that right there just made me respect him even more. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I wish I could have saw that, but I would have to agree that sounded pretty cool. Now, I don't think that would work on a fully grown adult.
Probably not.
Like, well, better luck next time, homie.
Like, oh, you didn't get to meet me? Too bad. Sucks to be you.
Yes, like maybe next year. Make sure you get in line early enough.
So, but yeah, that was really neat. I thought that was really cool.
I wanted to talk about some of the panels and events that we attended. Like Friday night, we came in just before the Monsters Ball, and that featured various artists from the Magic Ninja Entertainment label. And I came a little bit later than you, so who were like the groups that you saw?
When I got down there, A.X.E was already on. I saw about 5 of their songs, 4 or 5. Then following them was Blaze and ROC, who go by Zodiac Imprint when they're as a duo. And then Twisted was after them. Everybody's sets, I felt, seemed a little bit shorter, but I think it was just, it was just like an add-on to the event. It wasn't a full concert. At least that's how it felt to me. But it was still a good show. And I didn't think the sound in there was that great, but I don't believe it was a concert hall. So maybe that was just... It just didn't have good, walls for the sound to bounce off of or whatever. But
I mean, that's fair.
I mean, but it was for having to work with what they had. I mean, it was perfectly fine. So
I mean, I managed to come in a little bit later than you. I mean, I caught, I guess, as you referred to, as the Zodiac Imprint set. I was like stage side taking photos of that, and I definitely caught Twisted set, the full set. And I like the energy that the 2 acts were putting out, and like when I was actually out into the crowd, I felt like, I mean, granted, yes, it was a concert, but like since there were so many people in that room, like the temperature of the room was going up.
It was hot.
I felt like I was like, yep, this is just like one of the numerous concerts I've gone to. So like this is nothing new. But I thought the sound sounded fine, but then again, like you've gone to far.
Yeah, I've gone to a lot of their shows, so it sounded a little different to me, but it was perfectly fine. Like I said, I mean, for the other room that they had to work with and whatnot, it was perfectly fine. So.
I mean, because I've been to concerts held at conventions, but I've never been to a concert that actually featured the con runners. Actually performing.
That does seem kind of unusual.
And like the price for the for the concert itself was like $15, and I felt that was a reasonable price.
I think so for 3 acts. Yeah, that's definitely reasonable.
I mean, like there was an act before.
Was there one before?
I want to say yes.
Yeah. 3 or 4 acts anyway. That's still like definitely worth it.
Like for $15.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was pretty cool. I would if made it out through Friday night again for like next year, and they had the Monsters Ball again. I would definitely check it out again. So one of the events that you got to attend that I wasn't able to make it out to was the Haunted Highlands panel. What was that about?
So that was it started out with Dirk Manning, who was the writer, and then both of the artists. And they were there before Twisted, so they were just kind of Dirk was kind of keeping the conversation going.
So he was the moderator.
Moderator, yeah, he was just up at the table, but he was kind of moderating it until Twisted got. Even when Twisted got there, he was still kind of the one keeping everything moving. But so he discussed for a bit just his introduction and getting into comics. Also found out then that he was an old school skateboarder like myself. That's actually how he got into comics, was the skate shop that he would go to carry
Really?
comics.
I didn't even know that.
Yep. And so it sounds like he was into a lot of punk music and stuff as well. And that kind of drew him into all that. Now he doesn't draw comics, but he writes them. And so he just basically just discussed how he got into like the horror style, and then how he was introduced to the 2 artists and brought in to do the Haunted Highlands. And a little bit later, then Twisted showed up. They were running a little behind, so then when they got in, basically just the panel just discussing how they all came together for the project, how it all came about, some of the things that they want to achieve. Jamie was talking about, and I, as far as I know, he was dead serious about this. He said he would like to see it go into a mini series and then possibly become an animated series, possibly on Netflix. Their long-term goals or far out goals, whatever. But he said that's something he would like to see. And then there's just some Q&A and whatnot, and that was pretty much it.
All right, and one of the last thing as far as events goes that we got to check out at the tail end of Saturday before we took off was the Family Feud type game show, and we got to watch A.X.E or A.X.E, or what's their full name?
Alazul Elu.
Along with Ming and Mike from Comic Book Man, and they took on Twisted, G-Moski, Draven, and I want to say James from WRIF.
Yeah, I was one of the radio guys.
And the topic was something near and dear to both of our hearts,
Yeah.
which was pro wrestling.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool, even though like when some of the people out in the crowd didn't know the answer, and I'm just sitting there like,
Yeah.
one of the cool things about that was two of the cool things about that was the guy who was hosting the show, he was very entertaining.
And he was very knowledgeable.
Definitely
about that.
knowledgeable about pro wrestling. And the sound effects for the buzzer.
Yeah.
Like when you got the answers correct, wasn't it Macho Man?
No, it was when they buzzed in.
When they
They would
buzzed
go,
in, it
"Ooh,
was,
yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
And then like when they got the wrong answer, it was that tuba song from The Price is Right.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was pretty cool. Twisted lost out. Their team lost. At the
Yeah,
last
I believe
moment.
so. Yeah.
And like Ming Chen and his crew went on to go on to the next round. And I remember shortly before we left, I think they were trying to stump them with a comic book question, and like they nailed it. And they
Yeah.
were like, that's why our show's called Comic Book Men. I remember Mike saying that as like we were like leaving, and I couldn't help but laugh at that.
Yeah.
But definitely the panels and events that we checked out, I thought that was pretty cool and good part on Astronomicon. So we've been talking a lot about the good things, but now we have to go into the cons
Yeah.
of Astronomicon. It was only two things that really stood out to me. The main issue that I have at Astronomicon is the Wyndham Gardens itself. The amount of people that came out to Astronomicon on Saturday was, I mean, from what I understand, they came close to doubling their attendance from last year.
And last year it was packed.
Last year was fairly busy. Astronomicon, quite frankly, has outgrown the Wyndham Gardens at this
already.
point. And I mean, that's it. That's a good problem to have, but the Gardens itself is just too small to accommodate that massive crowd.
That dealer's room was packed, and like especially if people were lining up for autographs, or even just some of the aisles. There was numerous times I started walking down an aisle,
Same
and I had
thing.
to turn around and just go back the other way because you just couldn't even get through. And then where the autograph, Magic Ninja autograph table was, the line would wrap around. It would block off people's their booths, you know. And
That was the second point of
Yep.
not necessarily contention, but criticism that I had about Astronomicon. Yes, as Tim mentioned, that it was blocking off vendors, and unfortunately, when vendors get blocked off, no one comes to their tables.
Yeah.
Because people see like a long line, and I've seen this at other conventions too. Like, people see long lines and they're like, well, I don't even know what's behind that. I'm not going to even bother. And
Yeah.
they just keep going about their business. So sometimes vendors can lose their business from that. My suggestion, at least to fix that portion of my, is just to move autographs with Magic Ninja Entertainment to like a different area, or just probably around the corner.
yeah,
Like there was like vendors like in this little alcove. If they just put the Magic Ninja Entertainment area over there where they can sell the merch and like do autographs over there, that won't block off.
or maybe even out in the lobby, possibly. I mean, there was a lot
I don't
of
know,
room out
but
there.
see, I mean, there was a lot of room, but then again, since the Wyndham is small,
Yeah,
I think that would create issues too.
that could.
It's just,
Then you might have exits blocked.
exits. Yeah, for sure. I just don't know where they. I mean, I figured like that little alcove area they could do. The things, so that artists and vendors aren't blocked off.
Right.
But as far as like, the Wyndham being too small, I don't really know where they because Astronomicon's already announced.
Yeah,
that
for
they're going to
their
be
third
there
one
for
is
their
going to be
third
there
year.
next year. Yeah.
So I don't really know what they're going to be able to do to accommodate the sheer amount of people. Because
Yeah.
if this year is any indication of how it's going to be like going forward, there's going to be even more people next year, and it's going to be overrun.
Yeah, and it certainly seems to be getting decent reviews, so more and more people hear.
Because it's a good
about-
event.
Yeah, they
know?
hear about it and they're going to start showing up, you know.
So, and yeah, I'm glad it didn't snow that week.
Yeah,
That would've sucked.
definitely had a lot easier trip this year than we did last year.
Yeah, I guess that would be my third point of contention with Astronomicon. Can we please have it in warmer months?
Yeah.
For crying out loud.
Well, last year they said that they were going to shoot for warmer.
I don't know. They said that because they booked it.
Yeah,
like
they probably booked it right away.
They booked it right away.
And
I
then
mean,
it's the same. It's the same time next year, I believe too.
I know,
so.
but it's like just trying to figure out like where they could have it during the summer without competing with all the other conventions and stuff like that. But no, if they wanted to keep it in February, that's cool too. I guess that would give people something to look forward to during the really cold months.
During the cold months, yeah.
So might be a very smart ploy on their behalf. But yeah, the Wyndham Gardens. It's a nice hotel, but unfortunately, it's just too small for the amount of people.
Definitely a nice place, but it's just, they've already outgrown it. I mean, I feel like they probably already were pushing it at the first one, and this second year they definitely did.
I mean, it's not a knock on Astronomicon itself.
No, not at all.
I mean, and like I said, the Wyndham Gardens is a nice place too. I can't really complain about it, but it's just at this point. Definitely for the foreseeable future, it will not be the right. I feel it won't be the right venue for Astronomicon. That'd be really messed up if they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna keep holding it here," and like this, like 10,000 people trying to cram into this,
or they have to set up an outdoor part or something.
That's where you could have it in the summer.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, you could possibly have a concert outside,
yeah,
and stuff like that
cool.
too. All right, now that we've just addressed some criticisms about Astronomicon, final thoughts on the convention overall.
Just overall, I thought it was a blast. I had a blast at the first one. I had even more fun at this one. For me, meeting Jake the Snake was like I don't know how else to say it than a dream come true. He's been one of my favorite wrestlers for so many years, and he's one of the reasons I even became a pro wrestling fan. And the fact that they got him was awesome. Seeing all the other guests there, even if I didn't interact with them, it was cool to see them all there. As usual, the MNE roster was super cool, super friendly. It was cool to be part of the interview you did with them. Just an overall great event, and I'm already looking forward to next year's.
I would agree. I had a great time at Astronomicon again, and I think they do a very solid job. The crew, super cool.
Mm-hmm.
The guests, the ones I've encountered with, super cool. And if they'll have me back, I'll gladly come out to Astronomicon again and again and again. So I'm interested to see like what the future entails for this event. I foresee it continuing to be very successful. So Astronomicon gets a thumbs up in my book. And yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say about that.
Yep. Definitely great job, Magic Ninja and Twisted, and keep it up.
For sure. Well, folks, this is Joe from My Geek Scene sitting here with Tim, a.k.a. the Echoside Fiend. Please go like, subscribe, and follow his stuff on YouTube under that name. Take it easy.